G'day guys and welcome back. Now, over on Discord, I've often talked about my love of geology and rocks and gemstones and things like that. I love going out and finding different rocks. I have my little geode here, which I absolutely love. It's small, but you know, it's a start. So this week I thought I'd do something different and we'd look at a geology video. So, I hope you find this as interesting as I do. Enjoy! As I mentioned at the start, this video was actually sent to me on Discord from one of my patrons. That's one of the features patrons get to do on Discord, so maybe consider joining Patreon and sending me videos that you think I would enjoy as well and would like to share with people. Well, without further ado, let's just jump on in. I'm really excited about this.
So, what is biogeology?
Oh, biogeology. Wait, that's not Roger. What? What is this? Somebody else saying that rocks are alive? Oh no. This, this could be a long one, folks. Strap in.
It's a paradigm-shattering revelation, and everything that we know about geology and the layers of strata and the timeline of when things happened, all of that has to be revisited and revamped because it's based on erroneous thinking.
This is an open source investigation. We need people to participate.
So they're saying that very nice looking steak will become a rock? Or that these rocks were once delicious looking steak. That steak does look good. I enjoy a good steak. Rare. Almost blue. With a nice Diane sauce. Side of broccoli, cauliflower, roast potatoes, honey roasted carrots. Ooh, damn, I'm hungry. But you're hungry now too. After this, we should get sandwiches. Let's continue.
By comparing more results and conclusions, because it's always good to question what you've been told, especially now, thanks to all the people sharing on the internet and social media.
Okay, I'm not even really paying attention to what they're saying, but let's have a look at these pictures. Stone hearts and other petrified organs can be found in any dry riverbed and along coastlines. Mushrooms, asparagus, and trees seem to have grown much bigger before our time. Okay, well, that top left is clearly an image of the heart, a human heart. The rock in the middle at the top is, yeah, that's a rock. The rocks on the top right, they're also rocks. Now this rock that looks like a giant mushroom, yeah, that's a rock. And this weird looking one in the middle kind of looks like a rock. And these giant stone penises, I mean, clearly they're giant stone penises. What else could they possibly be? They have to be penises. I wonder how many times I can say penis and get away with it. Okay, moving on.
You can see far too many correlations to just keep dismissing them as coincidences.
My theory is that when you find iron ore in a
Wow.
that's attached to limestone, that what we're looking at is the red blood that is rich in hemoglobin.
This definitely sounds like it should be something Roger would do. But this isn't a Mudfossil University video. Now, iron is red. meaning it must be red blood cells. I'm beginning to understand how batshit insane you are.
Which contains iron. As opposed to the venous blood, which is the purple blood, which doesn't have the same
Purple blood?
quantity of iron in it. And so you can see, the underside of that. This has a very fleshy look to it. Wow. Take a look at this trabecular bone and compare that to this.
Aerated volcanic rock, probably. It gets aerated. What's it called? Pumice? Humus? Pumice. I like pumice. Pumice sounds better. But it's aerated as it's spat out of the volcano and comes into contact with, surprise, surprise, the air and other gases spewing out of the volcano, which has been under extreme pressure from gases. This isn't some sort of giant skull that has been shattered everywhere. It's either pumice stone. It could even be, can't even really tell, some sort of ant colony. I have no idea.
This is rock that's found on the top of the mountain. This is a real good example of the Swiss cheese trabecular bone.
Okay, it's not bone. That looks more like concrete. Yeah, it could be concrete, but it's definitely not bone. And it's definitely not a fossil of bone. They look completely different.
You can see multiple channels, and here there's both iron ore and the reddish earth that's coming out. Now, some people might think that the earth has been packed in there because of flooding, but
Do you know why people think the earth's been packed in there because of flooding? Because it has. The earth is brought up with the water, goes in, gets compacted in as each wave comes along. That's how rising water works. Or it's flowing down the hill, bringing the dirt with it, and it flows up into the holes. Each little bit of dirt piles up over time. It's not rocket science. It's barely even science.
I've shown in other videos that there are larger rocks, which we'll look at in a moment, that chunks of the rocks have broken off, exposing channels inside the rock with the reddish earth oozing out of the channel. Yeah.
The reddish earth oozing out of the channel. See, water is an amazing thing. Water will seep into a crack, and water has this unique property that when it freezes, it expands. It's the only thing that, as it gets colder, it expands. As it gets warmer, it contracts. So it will go in to these gaps, expand, get colder, expand, opening this crack just a little bit over time, and then it warms up, contracts again. Over time, it just expands and contracts, widening these gaps. And then the soil comes in, and then it will push parts of the rock away and crack it away, and then the red soil will come in, and that's where you're getting the redness from. It's not flesh, it's rock, stone.
So that kind of debunks that. But this has been fractured or broken, and so has this. But on the other side, you see these micro blood vessels. So as the tissue has been broken, then the iron ore accumulates. And if you look down in here, you can see all of these smooth, curved passages, and there's channels, and those channels become smaller channels. You can see the remains of the reddish earth.
Okay. The smoothness you get from vitrification, which is what happens in a volcanic eruption. And again, the hollows, water, lava tubes, could be anything. I'm personally, I'm not a geologist. I just find it fascinating. Soft rock molds easier underwater. Water over time is unstoppable.
All the way up here, the iron ore is caked throughout the channels. Okay, but if we look over here, we've got a block that's about 3 foot, and then you have this massive hole here filled with, guess what? Reddish earth, right?
I don't know why you keep saying it's iron ore. It's just red because the soil around it is red. It's most likely not iron ore. If it was iron ore, you should probably take it because that would be worth a lot. Just saying.
Isn't that strange? And you'd expect that red earth would be at the bottom. If it was from, rainfall, then it would go to the lowest point, but the point that it's packed up to the top.
Okay, that's not packed up to the top. You can see that rock has fallen at some point, and it was once the other way, and due to the shape of the rock, it looks like it's been pushed over, so it did settle at that way up at one point, and then over time it's just fallen over, and that's just the way the soil's gone.
Suggests that it was in there before
Right.
the weathering.
And again, here you see these little lines that are like micro blood vessels.
Again, that's just cracks. That would be probably from the lichen that you can see all over that rock, would seep into these small things and they just spread and causes cracks. It's very straightforward, very easy.
Which you would find in bone. In cortical bone, you're going to have a thick, compact bone with occasional channels going through it, and that's what you're seeing. And then here, if you look down, you can see there's a big channel here. And then the thing about blood vessels is they're fractal in nature, like trees, right? You have a trunk, and then you have a smaller branch, and a smaller branch, and a smaller branch. And so that's what you're seeing is this
Big one
opens
going
up,
into
and then it
smaller.
goes into smaller and smaller ones. So
Okay, so let's take what you're saying and pretend that it's real. We'll play along. What animal do these bones make up? What shape do they form? Any bone, you can tell, is a bone by looking at it. You can see the shape. It's long and roundish. Even fossils, you can still tell that it is a bone of an animal. This looks nothing like any bone of any animal. It has no shape to it. It's just randomness. So you're saying that these random looking bones existed? For what purpose?
explain that to me through erosion.
And how come these ones are going down and this one's going horizontal? You'd expect them to follow a bit more of a suit, a bit more of a pattern.
So
Yeah.
you'll find
The problem with these sort of things is time. You don't understand how time works. Over a long enough time, that rock would have fallen over. The earth around it could have been up higher, and water has washed it away, except for that part there where it's set back and up. So with time, the water hasn't pushed that part out yet. There's so much that it is, but it's not a bone. Like looking at that, what possible bone could that be? Like, it has no shape to it. It's got all these jagged edges. Looks like all these turds all over it.
stones that are kind of a combination of the two. I call them transition stones. So you've got the trabecular bone that's becoming cortical bone.
Yeah.
Like that in between. So you'll find one side has thick non-vascular stone, and then the other side has the Swiss cheese.
Here we can see the blood flowing through bones in all directions, thoroughly down the centre, and blatantly much less in the dense outer layer.
And no rock you have shown exhibits this. You should be able to get a tube camera and through these spongy looking rocks. Do that.
These stones, I believe, are all chunks of titans, and if you get up on them...
I'm sorry, did you just say chunks of titans? He said chunks of titans. My god.
And you look down, you see that there's loads of different kinds of histology, the tissues, and you can see some that have the iron ore that's caked onto the side.
Okay, it's not iron ore. And these rocks were possibly corals at one stage. I mean, I guess in that case you'd be kind of correct, because coral is alive and it does fossilize, and it kind of looks like that when it's fossilized. But it's not a titan. I mean, it's big plant animal hybrid thing. I don't know what coral is. I'm not a biologist.
With little openings like that one over there.
So what is it you just noticed?
I noticed that this rock looks like a lung.
Yeah.
Like the structure out of a lung, and you see...
Oh no, it is as bad as Roger. If a lung dries up, it shrivels. It becomes very small, and because it's mostly empty. And just because it has the shape of something doesn't mean it is that thing. Personally, I think that looks more like a brain. I actually thought that you were going to say it was a brain. Makes more sense for it to look like a brain.
Here, that's like the blood vessels that go into the lung.
Oh my goodness.
Got him, boys. Yeah, we got ourselves a fucking lung here. Look at it. Looks like a lung. Must be a lung. As I said, it's probably coral. I'm not a biologist. I prefer Roger's videos. I'm gonna end here. We'll do the outro, but this guy's got nothing on Roger. He's an imitation Roger. We love you, Roger. That was disappointing. It was a cheap knockoff version of Mudfossil University. Roger at least is entertaining and funny, and he has conviction in what he's doing. And he at least shows how it could be what he says it is. These guys are just, looks like this part of the body must be this part of the body. Looks like this part of a bone must be a bone. Looks like the inner workings of a bone must be a bone. They're not boneologists. They're boneheads. That's my opinion. Allegedly. Yeah, that should cover it. I was really hoping for a good geology video. Something I could enjoy and share with you guys. But instead this was probably funnier for you, watching me suffer through it. But thank you all for watching. And as always, a special thank you to Purple Haze, Caustic and Lisa for their support over on Patreon, as well as all the other patron supporters of lower tiers. To get your name in the shoutouts, you have to be in the, I don't know, $10 tier. Go check it out and have your name mispronounced or missaid at the end of any video. And until next time, friends, don't be a dick.